Hi, and welcome to this session titled Accelerating Creature Animation Workflows with the Use of Flow Studio and Flow Production Tracking. Before we get started, let me do some proper introductions, so at least you know who you are listening to. My name is Andres Reyes. I'm the founder and head of studio at Boxel. Armando Ricalde, our CTO and head of pipeline. Weberton Alves, our visual effects and CG supervisor. And Freddy Chavez, our creative director of AI and innovation. So now, let me give you a little bit of perspective of what you're going to get out of this session. As the title of the presentation says, Accelerating Creature Animation Workflows, let me tell you a little bit of what we're going to be talking about. So we were privileged to be the core vendor of the show Superman Lois. If you're not aware, this is a show that it's for the CW, made by Warner Brothers Television. And it has a very accelerated delivery schedule. And the team that works behind this show, amazing writers, amazing producers, they always push the envelope of what we can deliver with the time and budget that we have. So even with no AI during season 3, for season finale, we needed to deliver 151 shots of creature work, all of them requiring animation, simulation, destruction and debris, everything within 8 weeks of actual deliverable time. When we receive the script, they're shooting the material, turnover, and delivery of the shots. Let me give you a little bit of perspective of what this type of show requires. It requires digidoubles, it requires cape simulations, needs full DG characters that we need to model, rig, and animate, destruction and debris done in Houdini with character animation, full CG sequences where we need to model the set, animate the creature, animate DGs, and of course, hybrid shots where we need the creature in a live action plate. In the case of season 3, we were blessed with the opportunity of working with a motion capture facility where we had access to motion capture suits, and we were able to get that animation and process that animation, and that was great. But going into season 4, we got the news that we are going to get a reduced schedule and we're going to get a reduced budget. And we left off with a cliffhanger with Superman and Doomsday fighting on the moon. And we already knew that we were going to start episode 1 of season 4 with a lot of creature animation. And for that, I'm going to now leave the microphone to Freddy, his team was now responsible to figuring out what technologies out there would enable us to still deliver the same level of animation that we needed to deliver, understanding that we had less budget and less time. So without further ado, I'll send the microphone to Freddy so he can explain to us a little bit about how we use machine learning and motion capture to accelerate our previous and final animation. Freddy.
Thank you, Andres. Hi, everyone. At the start of 2023, I came across this particular demo from Wonder Dynamics on Vimeo. It looked almost too good to be true, to be honest. I wasn't the only one who thought about that. I shared it with a few colleagues of mine in the VFX industry, and they all thought it wasn't real. There wasn't much information out yet, and it caught a lot of us by surprise. After all, this wasn't coming from an established VFX studio or a big tech company. Instead, it was being developed by two super smart people, Nikola Todorovic and Ty Sheridan, which grabbed my attention even more. I applied right away to be a beta tester, and I tried to get in touch with the team. Around that time, I had just joined Boxel Studio, and I saw a clear opportunity. Not just to test the tool, but to potentially integrate it into a real production pipeline. That timing was unique. The writer and actor strikes were underway, so production was paused. But that gave us a very valuable window for R&D. We used that time to explore and test a wide range of AI and machine learning tools. We didn't know exactly when production would resume, but we did know one thing. Season 4 of Superman and Lois was coming, and when we did, it would need to be produced quickly and on a tighter budget. That meant that we had to rethink our workflows and look for new ways to become more efficient without compromising quality. That's when we began experimenting with machine learning-based motion capture for our creature work. We knew it wouldn't be perfect, but rarely new technologies are, to be honest. We saw the potential and we were willing to work around the limitations. This is one of the first tests that we did that was led by our Director of Real-Time and New Technologies, Juan Carlos Galindo. Since we couldn't upload our actual production assets to Flow Studio's cloud environment, in the early days at least, we came up with a workaround. We created a proxy version of Doomsday, ran it through the system, and then used our own custom retargeting tools to apply the data to our production rig and asset. Through that process, we uncovered 3 major advantages. First one, rapid previs. Even if the mockup wasn't production perfect, we were able to get a version into Unreal almost immediately. That allowed us to visualize sequences early and share those previews with our clients for feedback. Second one, empowering our animators. Once our animators got access to the tool, they started recording their own motion capture, without suits, gear, or extra setup. It gave them a fast starting point for their animations, which sped up their workflows. Third one, collaboration with the stunt team. Later, we introduced the technology to the stunt team on Superman and Lois. Once they saw how it worked, and more importantly, understood the advantages through hands-on collaboration with us, they got on board. Without the need for suits or tracking markers, it became a non-invasive tool for rehearsing and blocking action, offering instant visual feedback. More details about this on this key process will be discussed by Andres and Weberton. Thank you.
So as Freddy was saying, once we realized that this workflow was actually going to work, we started testing in order to make it deployable for production. Before we go to web, because web, we have a joke internally as our CG and visual effects supervisor with a lot of experience is always, hey, I have trust issues, meaning this needs to work. I'm not just gonna put this and fail in actual production. So before we were actually deploy it, we started giving the tool to the animators and we started doing some tests with some of the ancillary characters. And this created some sort of libraries that we could actually use on Steel. And then those libraries proved to be very successful. That way we'd actually execute more animation for different type of shots. So now that we feel that we're ready, we now have to go show this to our CG and visual effects supervisor, Web, understand the pipeline, and Web will now guide you through that technical process and then that actual practical process on set in order to be able to capture that data. So I'll pass it into Web.
Hi, hello guys. As always, the new technology always require some sort of testing. And after the internal team from Freddy tested and proved to me that that was really working, we got prepared to present this for the production side, right? For the showrunners to get everybody on board of it. How are we going to achieve it in a way that production friendly, right? So we need to involve everybody, since from the showrunners until everybody on set that's involved. In this case, we work really close with the stunt coordination. Rob Hader, he was a great, and when he saw the potential of the technology, we have to come out with a plan to really introduce this in the production, but without interfering with the normal production schedule, and nothing extra needs to be done in terms to get it solved, right? So then we try to find the convergencies, and let me get back to this one. So back. Okay, we try to find the conversion of the tasks, and we try to find a solution to put the cameras on set without affecting the production cameras. So we come out with a solution with the stunt team, and we put three GoPro cameras in the different parts of set hidden, and we ask them to keep doing their stunts, and we could record this library of stunts, and then we could apply them in our shots in a very early stage, and then we can define if those shots we're gonna get approved, they will have to move forward for the refinement, or we're gonna just keep using them in the first level of the capture that doesn't require a lot of refinement, but at least we can previs a shot how we're gonna go. So we don't do one stunt just per one shot. One stunt we can use in multiple shots, allowing us to save a lot of time to put in front of the showrunners to make it work. So then when we have the records, as you can see here, we have the tumbling that we use for one, and then we combine with another one, and then we can have like one stunt and 3 shots sold with the same stunt. So if you move to the next one, this Freddie already gave us the idea of what we did in order to solve that process. So we have a rigging, then we capture the movement, then we drive back to our internal rig. And this internal rig, we have a couple of stages on that. That's the raw stage that normally goes for the previews and the first looks for the APs. And then after that, we have the refinement stage. As you can see here, we pass to softwares to help us to clean it up the data. We, in this case, is Cascadeur. And then we send that or to Unreal or to Maya, depending what we're going to do, depending of type of refinement the shot needs. So we don't do a full refinement before we know if it's going to be used or not. So this gave us a strategic point to save time with our animators. And when we decide, okay, this shot is really in the show, let's push this to polish animation. So as you can see here, it's just a demonstration of the retargeting that we could take the data, just convert to our rigging, refine the rigging, and then convert back to us. In the newest versions, you already have this without need to be like a proprietary tool. In this case, we wrote our own tool because we have our own necessities. But I think with the latest versions, you're going to have this already working for you. So it's just converting all the keyframes for the keyframes can be editable for the animation. So that resumes a little bit the integration that on set that requires everybody be on board of. We were very fortunate that everybody was on board after our presentation of the technology. So these allowed us to be not very interrupting on set. So we could do this with like very minimum production interference, and we could exponential grow our capacity of animation to show animation at least in the first stage. And here, as you can see, we are just reusing a stunt that we did was purpose for other shot, but in this shot we could just reuse that stunt and use for this one here. And then after the shot is defined, yes, okay, let's push this to the final stage. Let's refine the curve of the animation. Let's put some cloud simulation on it, and let's put some effects coming out of that. Here, same process. Here, we just captured them. That's the production camera that you are seeing here. And then we have the witness camera around. You're going to see now, with the witness camera, we were able to capture all the moves. So then the interaction in between the characters, they will be way, way better capture for us to replace for the real keyframe animation. So as you can see here now, from the very beginning stage, we could show this to the client, to the showrunners to decide if the shot will stay or not in the show. And then we push this in a faster pace to show the final on that. So we could focus now in the render and the comp and everything that we need to focus.
Perfect. So as Webb is saying, it was just, I think, the right tool at the right time. Now, I will try to conclude this process. It was, for us, very important at Boxel to have someone like Freddy, creative director that has a lot of knowledge from his background, more than 17 years of experience in visual effects, from compositor, senior compositor to a supervisor, understanding what are the tools out there that we can use to actually accelerate. So for that research and development and innovation team is core, it's key. I think it as we are professionals in the use of technology to solve creative endeavors, being ahead of the curve and always investigating what's new, it's very important. And for that, we are very grateful with Autodesk and Nicola with Wonder Dynamics, as they saw that we were sharing that same vision and giving us those tools early access really elevated and make this a something that was practically used. Now, none of that works if someone like Webb, a senior CG and visual effects supervisor that knows the life on set, knows the showrunners, knows the producers, was able to grasp the pipeline on his head and now inside of the computer to put it to practice. What was the result of all of this? The result was that as we can compare now, season 3, 8 weeks of production for 151 shots, more budget, more time. Season 4 was 5 weeks to deliver the season finale, 172 shots with more animation. But because of everything that Webb just explained, where, oh, now we're capturing the stunt doubles and getting more animations, and those animations can now be saved on cycles, and those cycles can be repurposed because we have a rigging tool that can actually now modify the animation non-destructively. Now we are able to practically use those tools to do not compromise the quality, do not compromise the delivery schedule, be able to be competitive with the new price point while still giving our clients the best shots and the best work that we can deliver to them. So here you can see a graphic and how it actually behaved, which we strongly think at Boxel that technology, if used correctly, should actually accelerate production processes and keep cost competitive. So here now you can see at what Webb was describing. The stunt double, the actor was now really getting into character without having to go to a motion capture stage or grabbing a motion capture suit, really like breathing the character of Doomsday. The benefits of this is that we were now getting all the body dynamics of the character. That was very fast. And now the animators can focus on the minutia, the details of the eyes, the action of the face of Doomsday. And we can really start focusing on elevating the shots, right? Because we now have access to a lot of animation. So with that, we will close that part of the presentation and now give the microphone to Armando Ricalde, our head of pipeline and chief technological officer. As I will always say, when you have no time and when you have limited budget and resources, you cannot afford to be disorganized. And we're grateful to have someone like Armando and his team at Boxel and of course, a tool like Flow Production Tracking, because when you're delivering over 250 shots per episode in a matter of 3 weeks on like lower, how can I say this, less demanding episodes, because not all of the episodes are as demanding. Some episodes require more creature work. Some episodes require a lot of extension work. Some of them require a lot of explosions. But nonetheless, there are a lot of shots that we need to deliver. And there's no one episode just like happening at once. There's a time in this type of productions when you're running in 3 episodes in parallel, addressing notes of a previous episode, prepping for a new episode, and delivering the current episode. That means that at a given time, we are having to deliver over 50, 70 shots in a week. So for that, being organized is key. So I'll leave it to you, Armando, so you can explain a little bit about the tools that we created for the show.
Thank you, Andres. Hi, everyone. So I'm excited to take you through the second part of this presentation. While the first part highlighted how we accelerated creative iteration with Flow Studio and machine learning tools, now I'll focus on the other part of the equation, how we manage scale, structure, schedule, and delivery with Flow Production Tracking. So without further ado, I'd like to start with a quote that I like a lot. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. James Clear. And this has never felt more true than it did while we work on Superman and Lois, because Flow Production Tracking, the system, was up to the level of the challenge. And what was this challenge? For the season 4, it was 600 shots in less than 6 months. And for the final episode, in just 3 weeks, we needed to deliver 170 shots. So let's take a look at how this looks across time in terms of the versions that we push through our pipeline. In our busiest week, we publish almost 1,000 versions. So everything starts at our editorial team. They receive all kinds of files, the plates, editorial references, CG models, the CDLs, the LUTs, and everything has to go through some tools thanks to our integration with Flow Production Tracking. And this way we can ingest everything in our servers, but also we created the published files on Flow Production Tracking that allows everybody to see what's actually available on the server. So this way, nobody has to browse for files. They just need to use Load app to browse for what they need and bring them to the tool they are using. This is an example of our Publish Color app. This way, editorial publishes CDLs and the LUTs. And when the art is published, the color was automatically baked in the video files that were generated on our render farm. And this was a really big challenge on this show because for this show, there was no log cut at all. So the cut was always changing. We constantly were receiving new edits. And this way, with the tools, the editorial team was able to keep the database in sync with the new cuts. So how does this look? And what's the benefit for the artist? Play it, please, Andres. So when anybody with any artist would like to review any shot, here I'm using the web player, but this could be also done in RV. They just have to hit the C key to change to the cut context mode, and they were able to review a mini cut or even the entire cut of the sequence. So this way they were able to review their work in the cut context to see that everything was working. And they were even able to filter this by pipeline step or by statuses. So this was super helpful to just keep up with the speed of this show and all the editorial changes. And there was this was a very clever idea and proposal that was made by Enrique Sandoval, our compositing supervisor. He proposes to work on stages. So here you're looking to our task templates for the shots. Every task is grouped by its stage. So for every stage, there was a very clear, next please, Andres. Every stage has a very clear meaning. So this way, every artist know what was going to show on each stage, and all the supervisors knew what to expect. So this helped everybody to focus on how the work was progressing through these stages. And also the production team was aware on what stage every shot was. So they were able to just see if something was falling behind or that all the work was moving through all these stages at the same speed. So how does this look in the system? Play the video, please. So on every shot, we could see the latest stage that they were working on. And every version, there was a field with a stage. And that information was automatically put in the burn-ins. So the supervisors just can take a look at the stage and without actually looking at the notes, they knew what stage that version was. So they just have to play another version and they could see the stage in the burn-in. So that way the supervisor could just give the notes specific to that stage faster. So this allows us to work faster to know that everything was just moving through those stages. And all these versions were linked to all these playlists, which actually we use the playlist for many things. Because of the speed of this show, we have dailies twice a day, one daily in the morning. Next, please. Dailies, we use it for dailies, for internal reviews, to also group the versions that when we receive client notes, and also to group the deliveries. Every delivery was grouped in a playlist. So this helped us organize all the work because of the number of versions. This way, our production team was able to track the progress across all these pipeline steps through all these stages. So it was easier for them to see how the whole show was progressing. One of our PAs actually created this super helpful dashboard where anybody can just switch the season, the episode here. They have just to refresh, and they have all the information for every episode. They just have to change again the episode, and they can track every pipeline step, how they are moving through those stages, and what are the statuses of the versions and the shots. So this way they were able to keep a bird's eye on everything that was going on in the show. So in summary, there were almost 40 hours working on this show across 600 shots with 88 assets, more than 31,000 tasks, more than 10,000 versions, and they addressed more than 11 nodes. So this was such a challenge for the team to get it done in such a month short of time. But moreover, because of the good relationship we had with the client, we partnered with the network to help them achieve more. Because as Andres just said, the last season had cut in the budget, and we had a tighter schedule to get it done. So that's why we helped them several ways. One way was that we created a delivery tool for the vendors to deliver their work, including us, because there were other vendors in the show. And we also coded some webhooks to automate some things in their flow production tracking, because the client was also using their own flow production tracking to track the work for all the show. So now I'm going to show you how this delivery tool works. So here we are looking at the client's flow production tracking site. So the vendors just had to go to the desktop app and launch the delivery tool. They just have to drag and drop the versions. Before this, everybody was using Box to actually submit and deliver the files. Here in the tool, they just have to add the submission notes and then add a message for the post team about what they're going to receive. And this way, an email is going to also be automatically created, because this is creating a delivery entity on the flow productions tracking site of the client. So the file now is uploading directly to their flow production site. So I'm going to refresh here the shot page, and here it is. Okay, so now the other thing that this app did was that if you try to, again, deliver the same version, it will flag it's red because it says that the version already exists. So this doesn't allow to upload the same version again. And it also validates the naming conventions to be the right one. So this way, production save a lot of time. And they receive the email, the pesky email that you need to manually create was automatically created for all the vendors. So the client was notified about the new version. Moreover, if they go to the deliveries page, they have all the deliveries with all the packages for every vendor, grouped by episode. They can see the content, and moreover, a playlist is created with the same name of the package and the delivery, where the versions are just sitting there for them to start reviewing. But again, the editorial team in the previous seasons was also downloading the files from Box. But we created also a tool for the editorial team. Play it back, please, Andres. So now they just had to select the playlist, and they can even select multiple playlists and run an app from the web site, or go inside the playlist and run the download playlist app for the editorial team. So this way, instead of manually downloading one version at a time, they just have to select the folder and run the app, and the app will download all the versions. This example is just 3 versions, but if they were just 30 or 50 versions, all were going to be downloaded by this tool automatically, and they can just hit the open button. It will open the file browser, and there you have the versions and a folder created with the same name of the package, which corresponds also with the name of the playlist. So this is it. So this way we help them achieve more by creating these tools for them. And now I leave it to Andres for the 2 final slides to share with us these quotes.
No, yes, of course. Thank you, Armando, for that. And as I was saying, Before we finish, definitely, I always think it is the right tool for the right task. And the support that we have received from Autodesk and from our other technological partners has been second to none. And I think we are here to implement that technology to service better the shows that we worked on. So as such, to Armando's point, Joe Anaya, who was the amazing VFX production manager of Superman Lois, he was kind enough to say that all of the shows tried to maximize their resources. Our show was no different. Boxel technical support and streamlining modifications to our flow production tracking process for vendor submission, editorial imports, and execute review freed up critical time and limited resources at every level of production, allowing our show to achieve much more than our schedule and budget will normally allow. Talking with Joe personally, he was saying, Andres, you're recovering 3 hours of our day just because of manual work that they were doing in Excel, creating, as Armando was saying, a manual email, prepping the deliveries, all of the tracking the vendors on which versions that do they owe. Now on a centralized process, we can all, like Armando was describing, bird's eye view, what is the health status of a particular episode. And our amazing visual effects producer, Matt Gore, was kind enough to say this. The team at Boxel did extraordinary work for us on Superman Lois. Their artistry and technical contributions were always above and beyond what we were hoping to achieve. They were also quite instrumental in helping us expand our use of flow production tracking. They not only helped us integrate the app for vendors to deliver versions, but they were also extremely helpful growing with our editorial team as they shifted their workflow to downloading the material straight out of the FTP. Any project would be very fortunate to have Boxel as a part of their creative and technical team. And I think what we're trying to say here is that visual effects and production of stories and entertainment content is it's a business of being organized as well. And I think that flow production tracking really steps up to the plate in order to help us out keep very organized. So thank you so much for listening to us, and hopefully you got something out of this session titled Accelerating Creature Animation Workflows with the Use of Flow Studio and Production Tracking. And if there's a message that we can convey is that if you're a VFX producer, if you're a VFX facility, build strong relationships with your technological partners. I think that they're there to help. We want this business to grow and be healthy. And I think part of this is keeping on top of our game, being always looking out for what technologies are out there that are going to help us be as efficient as we can. So yeah, thank you so much and hope you enjoyed it.